Hey, yes, pop them open. Let's get started. Let's get it going. Well, oh, Kevin. Oh, I was wondering about that one. My God, you're just pouring chocolate right there, aren't you?
Yep.
Love it. Love it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Who's out there? If you're out there, please let us know in the chat. All right. Because it is a Monday night. It's the 11th of November, and we're going to talk baseball. Okay. Because, that's all we do. We talk beer and baseball. And we're always looking forward to this. We're going to name 6 more diamond icons to round us out. We're going to have 18 in total. So I can't wait to get to this show. So why don't we get to it? Episode 173. Can you believe that we've made it 173? We've done these. We've done more than these.
Until now, I couldn't even count to 173.
Yes. Adam is here. Hello, hello.
Hello,
Guess
hello.
who? All right, so let's go from the top. Welcome back to the Baseball Brew Crew Podcast. We are keeping baseball history alive, one craft beer at a time. Wherever you are watching or listening to us, please give us a like and a follow. And if you love beer with your baseball, please tell a friend. Wanted to say a happy Veterans Day to to everyone in the armed forces. We thank you for your service. Allan or Jack, can you tell me who this brave man is? Who can do it first?
Rocket Man from the song.
Is that Ted Williams?
Dude, in your
Where's
face?
my buzzer? Where's my buzzer?
Is that Ted Williams?
That is Teddy
Yes.
Ballgame. Nicely done. So Ted Williams served in both World War II and the Korean War, receiving 3 air medals while sacrificing his valuable years at the peak of his extraordinary baseball career. Kevin, you probably know a lot about this.
Well, we've talked about it before, and in fact, Jack likes him so much. One of his new nicknames is Jackie Ballgame. So, we can add that in there too. The mini list of Jack nicknames, which I added a couple more over the last few days.
That's right. Jack, I'll give you an extra point if you can tell me another nickname of Ted Williams. I gave you Teddy Ballgame, and we said it before, but there was another one.
Oof, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Mr. 3000.
There you go. There you go.
Allan, any guesses?
Splendid Splinter?
That nailed it. Love it. Nicely done.
Oh yeah, everybody knows that, dude. What kind of dork doesn't know that, dude? Jeez.
Well done. Well done. Well, here is the lineup card for today. Hitting first is our newest acquisition and the first international signing of the Baseball Brew Crew. It is a big hurt, Allan Jepsen.
Fully rested from the weekend and ready to go for this week. Let's go.
Love it. Love it. And can we see what you are wearing tonight?
Today is, try and get that in there. It's a shirt I grabbed in Oakland there when I was there for the second to last game. It says Baseball's Last Dive Bar. This is a game used hat from 2021 from, I think, worn by batting coach Darren Bush.
Okay.
I didn't really do any research on it, but it was a game used hat, and I like to grab a game used if I can from each stadium.
That's awesome. And I think that I saw maybe the last Oakland Athletics jersey in use at the Arizona Fall League at the Fall Stars game this last weekend. So, wow, I didn't even think about it, but I'm like, oh my God, they're actually wearing the Oakland uniform. So, but such a shame.
The only thing better, Michael Mondragon, if he would have said, "Oh, this was a game-worn cap by the pitching coach of Oakland Athletics,"
that would have been
who that guy is.
That Scott Emerson, yeah, and he's going to be, what is it, the Athletics now, or is it just the Athletics?
Just the Athletics.
But they went to high school together. If you look in our archives, we actually did a happy hour interview with them about 2 years ago, I believe.
That's right. That's right. And what did we talk about? We talked about basketball.
Yes. Well, he was a basketball player, and he actually pitched against Michael Jordan.
That's right. That's right. That's where it all came.
How about that?
Yes. And there's a Eric Sleepy Floyd reference. So please watch that one too. That was awesome. He actually enjoyed that one. So batting second is the field correspondent and senior research analyst for the Baseball Brew Crew. It is Kevin Lyon. How you doing tonight? What are you wearing?
Doing great. Glad to represent here. We're the real veterans here at the Baseball Brew Crew because all we're going to do is serve you some great information about craft beer and baseball.
Love it. Love it. Batting in the 3-hole is the Goodwill ambassador and the Sultan of Swig at the Baseball Brew Crew. It is Cowboy Jack Durango, and I love that cap.
Feast your eyes on the Diamond Exchange, the crown jewel of craft beer and baseball, recently christened as the Arizona Meat Factory. There's 2 men in this world better than me, and I'm both of them. Let's start the show.
I will tell you, Jack, I'm going to take blame for this. I got to get my soundboard because that deserves a standing ovation. And so I promise you that I will have it. Maybe not by next show, but the one after that for sure. So standing ovation. That was well done. My name is Michael Mondragon, your humble host for the festivities tonight. As tradition on the show, we always bring a new and unique craft beer to review and enjoy. So what craft beer are you drinking? Let us know in the chat. And Cowboy Jack Durango, I'm going to let you go first. You're going to talk about a great brewery that's actually very close to me.
Well, I recommend going to the Beer Research Institute, a.k.a. the BRI in Mesa, Arizona. It's like a mad scientist lab, except instead of beakers and test tubes, brother, you've got pints and growlers. The only thing that's being experimented with here is your taste buds, and trust me, they'll thank you. Walking into the BRI feels like stepping into a high school chemistry classroom, if that classroom had a fully stocked bar and a lot more smiling people. With its industrial decor, exposed brick walls, and a bar that's probably seen more beer than Kevin Lyon could dream of, you're immediately hit with that "this is gonna be fun" vibe. If you're lucky, you might get a glimpse of the mad scientist concocting the perfectly proportioned pint. Let's talk beer, boys. The BRI doesn't just serve beer. They think tank it. They research it. You'll find everything from hazy IPAs that make you wonder if you're sipping a citrus garden to stouts so rich they might as well be a liquid chocolate cake. The Orange Crush IPA is what I recommend for you, Disco Machine. It's citrusy, zesty, and much like your hips, a little on the wild side. Meanwhile, they serve the Penny Porter, which is a dark brooding beer, and it's perfect for our cute little senior research analyst, Kevin Lyon. And for our first international signing, the Morgana, the Kissing Bandit of Canadian professional wrestling, Big Hurt Allan Jepsen, I recommend their seasonal and experimental brews because at the BRI, they're always cooking up something new and mysterious. If you love craft beer, great food, and feeling like you're in the middle of an epic beer experiment, the Beer Research Institute is the place to be. It's the kind of spot where the beers are as creative as the Baseball Brew Crew's group chat after Kevin houses 12 beers at Radiant and his victim escapes his icy cold fingers. Just remember, boys and girls, to enjoy responsibly and always let them know that the Valley of the Sun's favorite son, Cowboy Jack Durango, sent you.
Awesome. Awesome as usual. Wow, that is tremendous. And
I never want to hashtag do the research more than I want to at the Beer Research Institute. Let me tell you.
yeah, and well, I recently moved back to the Valley of the Sun, and so we were driving around, and what do I see is the Beer Research Institute, and I'm always I'm always a student of life, and I want to enroll in this institute, and I'm trying to see if I can get some funding so I can.
We're gonna crowdsource it, is what I think. We're gonna get you a scholarship, brother. We're gonna get you there. We're going to get you into the BRI.
Yes.
I love it. And then when I saw it, I'm just like, I did that kind of like cartoon thing, like, oh, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, I need to check this out. And I'll tell you what, Jack, you have given me more insight to Arizona breweries than I even knew that were here. And this is another case. I was so looking forward to this because this is a place that I've wanted to go for a long time. I just haven't got a chance to go yet.
You're going to love it. And, 3 years ago, if you would have asked me about craft beer in Arizona, I wouldn't know. I thought SoCal was the craft beer fertile crescent, as it were. But man, here in the Valley of the Sun, dude, you guys got some amazing choices for craft beer that's here in the state, man. It's great.
Yep. And on their website too, they have like a lot of great food too. So I was looking into that as well. So
dude, date night, brother. It's a good idea.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you, David. Thank you for showing up. The Breuniverse is alive.
Return of the Breuniverse, dude.
I like it. Allan, you are up next.
Well, another experimental type beer. Today I'm drinking the Banana Cream Pie Wheat Ale from Storm Brewing in East Vancouver. Again, just like the Beer Research Institute, these guys just experiment with different flavors. Just this past summer alone, I had a ginger lemongrass Pils, a dill pickle IPA, an orange creamsicle IPA. They have done things like ghost pepper black currant ale.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they've done a pizza Pilsner and a chicken wing IPA. So again, these guys are much like the BRI and just experiment with they got their 5 cores that they do. They do a Pilsner, a stout, an ale, an IPA, and a half wheat. And then from there, they just kind of throw whatever crazy idea in their head into the tank. And this is what it comes out with. So it's very good.
Very cool. So, did you go here and to this brewery to get this beer, or do you, where do you buy your beer?
It varies. It depends if I'm in the area or not. This one I picked up from kind of like a bottle shop that sells a bunch of individual ones. I'll typically try and go to the brewery, so the brewery gets the majority of the money as opposed to the shops itself. Mm-hmm. And I believe Kevin went there this summer or last summer when he was here.
I went there, and I can add, this is a very small space. And you don't buy full pours. You buy tasters. You buy them a taster at a time. You can't buy a pint. When I went, I think I had 4 different things, and I can't believe I didn't have it saved on my Untapped. But I think I had the orangesicle one you're talking about. I think the dill pickle one. I'm going, what in the world is this place? Because I have 2 beer friends in Vancouver, and they both made sure I got the proper Vancouver beer tour. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, they're not a typical. They're not a typical tap room. They don't have a tap room license, so typically it's only a tasting room. Right. So you can't buy actual full pints. You buy 5 tasters. So you pay $10 and you get tasters. So you get to try their crazy menu pretty much from top to bottom, or you can continue to drink the same one, whatever you decide to choose.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if this was the same place. Is this the same place where you have to bring your own container to bring it in, or something? Am I right on that?
They give you little plastic cups.
Maybe that was it.
So yeah, they basically, and you don't get actual glasses. You don't get, it's just little plastic cups, and you bring the cup back up. They'll rinse it out with some water, put the next one in. Their slogan is from a review they got, which is so sketchy but great beer. So and their mascot is a rat. So all they have is rubber rats around the whole the tasting room there. It's so much fun. I pretty much bring everybody that comes up that wants to go out to see it. So
yeah, I wanted to go with him because I was hanging out with a friend of mine who lived in the area, and there's also a couple other breweries around there. The other one I went to in the area is Parallel 49 is one of the bigger ones in Vancouver, and I went over there also.
Yeah, they have a ton, but there's 12 or so breweries just in that general East Van area, so which they call Yeast Van.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for that, Allan. Kevin, you are up next. And it's your second Halloween beer too, right?
Yeah, I was going to have this 2 weeks ago, but then I wanted to support Anaheim Halloween Parade. So this is sitting in the fridge for the next couple weeks. So this is called All Hallows Treat. It's an Imperial Chocolate Peanut Butter Stout coming in at 7.6%. And man, I can just smell it. It smells wonderful. Let me read the description before I go to the brewery itself. So let me see if I can read this here. Sweet and spooky, like the perfect Halloween. night. All Hallows treat, guys, of course I can't read this, rekindles your favorite childhood memories. But I don't have, Halloween didn't exist when I was a child, but I'll try to pretend that I know what that means. You know, I don't want to tell you what we were doing in October of the 1600s, looking for witches. Aromas and flavors of dark chocolate, creamy peanut butter, and a soft vanilla finish with a smooth body and medium mouthfest. Yes, it says mouthfest. I was like, what? I'm sorry, it says mouthfeel. Anyways, let me tell you, this is a great beer, but I also want to tell you where this is. It's Brewery on the Gang. Does anyone know where they're located? Has anybody done the research?
They're from New York, aren't they?
Not just New York, Sarah. They became famous because they made beers that were Games of Thrones beers.
Yeah,
that got them on the national map. So that's how they got nationwide distribution, and you can find a lot of their stuff everywhere. But they are in Cooperstown, New York. So years ago, when I went out to Cooperstown, I'm like, I gotta go. And little did I know, it's like 5 or 6 miles outside of downtown Cooperstown. Like I took a couple buses. I'm like, all right, let me go over here. And it was like, I'm walking on a country road for 2 miles to get there. And then literally I had to walk about 2 or 3 miles to my motel on the country road. And someone working there saw me walking along the side of the road, who worked there, picked me up and took me to my motel room and gave me like some beers to go. So I'm like, hey, winning all around.
What is your life, dude?
Good beers. It's a really cool brewery location too. They had good food as well. And yeah, this is a nice treat to end my Halloween season.
Oh, so cool. So cool. Where did you get this beer?
Total Wine.
Total Wine. Okay.
Yeah, you go to Total Wine and you'll be able to find them. There's also a Christmas themed stout they just released. I didn't buy that yet. Maybe I will next month. We'll see.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you.
That was the most hobo story you've ever told on the podcast.
Yep. It's legit too. I figured just take the bus. I'll be in Cooperstown. Little I know Cooperstown is not, a little bigger than I thought.
You're a hobo, dude. You're a hobo.
Oh, it gets worse. I had to walk 2 or 3 miles from my motel into actually where Cooperstown actually is, and the Hall of Fame is, on a 2-lane road at like 7 a.m. to get to the Hall of Fame.
and that pales in comparison to what you had to do for the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, where you rented a car and drove up there.
Had to rent a car. Yeah, rent a car.
Oh my God.
Like 100 Canadian, which is like $10, but just rented a car, drove down there, spent a couple hours there. I wish I would have went to there's a field around there. It's like the oldest professional baseball field. And I didn't know about that at that time. Otherwise I would have done that too.
Oh my God.
Wah.
Another day. Wah.
Yeah.
So my beer for tonight is actually a gift from our senior research analyst. And this one is pretty amazing. It's the Gathering of Elders. It's a Sad Coast IPA, which is a new category, by the way. It's a collaboration between Radiant Beer Company and the band Finding Emo. It is a 7.1 ABV. And here is the description that's actually on the back of it. It says, when tears meet fears, it's time for beers. We've teamed up with our fellow sad boys and girls, the one and only Finding Emo, to create a West Coast IPA worthy of crying over, featuring Citra, Simcoe, Amarillo, Riwaka, and Motueka hops, and Kohia, Motueka Keef. It's got scary amount of zesty citrus flavor and enough tropical backing to last the length of your favorite sad song anthem. Now, since it's the end of the year, I will say this is a strong candidate for my beer of the year.
Wow.
It is, again, we are spoiled the fact that we get to have so many great West Coast beers, but Radiant kills it again. And I love all their collaborations and everything. And I would have known of Finding Emo. I wasn't even aware of this band. Now I want to find out more about them.
Well,
what do you know about them, Kevin?
Just real quick, they're a cover band. So I think in the spring, Radiant just tried to do an emo night. Because, a lot of their audience is probably people in their early to mid 30s who grew up on some of the emo music in the 2000s. So they decided to do an emo night, and they had this band, Finding Emo, do an emo cover band set. And apparently, like, I don't know if you guys been, for those who've been to Radiant, there's not much parking. So literally, like, people were told to take ride shares there after this first one, because it was just like, place extremely packed. And so they started doing it quarterly. And I went to the one a couple weeks ago, and that's when they unleashed this beer. So I'm going, might as well get a 4-pack. Why not? And I was like, this is a Michael Mondragon beer here.
Oh my gosh, so good, so good. I'm so thankful that I got to taste this one, because it is fantastic. Is it still available, Kevin?
I believe it is. It came out, if you look on the can, it says it was canned just on like October 14th or something like that. It says on the can when it was made. So I think it's still available. It's brand new. It just released the Saturday before Halloween. It's like the 26th, 27th of October.
Oh, it's phenomenal. So thank you so much for that. And that is our beers that we're having tonight. So let's get into it. So on December 9th, we're going to celebrate the 4th annual Diamond Icons Awards ceremony. We've whittled it down to 18 incredibly unique personalities. And it's going to be a sudden death playoff form. It's going to be fantastic. So December 9th, circle that on your calendar. We have 3 managers, 3 non-players, 3 legends, 3 pitchers, 3 infielders, 3 outfielders. And we're going to be going through, this will be 13 through 18. And so this will round it out, and we'll do a recap after this. But Allan, who is number 13?
Well, Allan is excited to tell you about our next Diamond Icon nominee. So let Allan tell you about Rickey Henderson. Rickey Henderson is a character. There is so many stories about Rickey that, like, I just couldn't narrow it down, but I picked a few that I liked the most. Rickey once received $1 million bonus check. Instead of going to the bank to cash it, Rickey took the $1 million check, put it on the wall, just so each and every day Rickey could walk past it and say, Rickey's a millionaire. There was one time someone decided to quote John 3:16 to Rickey. Rickey responded with, Rickey don't want to hear about John hitting 316. Rickey's hitting 330. Like, it just continues. This guy is like, he's like one of those people I would love to just sit down and have a beer with, of course. While playing with the Padres in 1996, Rickey was last to board the team bus. Normally, veterans get 2 seats themselves on the bus, and Rickey expected someone to move for him, one of the rookies or whatnot. Rickey walks on and goes, no seats for Rickey. Rickey don't get a seat. Ain't nobody got a seat for Rickey. Just tell one of the kids to move, Brad Osmus says. You've got tenure. Rickey responds with, tenure? Rickey's got 15 year. One of the rookies moved, and Rickey sat down happily with his 15 year. In 1987, Harold Reynolds won the stolen base title. Rickey was hurt during that season and didn't win, obviously. So after the season, Rickey called Harold Reynolds on the phone, and the conversation went a little like this. He said, Henderson here, because, of course, he talks in the third person. Reynolds responds with, what's up, Rick? Rickey then says, man, you ought to be ashamed. Reynolds, confused, asks Rickey what he's talking about. 60 stolen bases? You ought to be ashamed. Rickey had 60 at the break, then hung up on Harold Reynolds. Nicknamed the Man of Steel, Steal. He stole 1,406 bases, probably something no one's going to ever touch. He was a 10-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger, Gold Glove winner, and he's a Hall of Famer. Rickey is one of a kind, and now he is a Diamond Icon nominee. So cheers to Rickey.
Awesome. And I was thinking about it too. It's like and this will show how old I am. I used to on a VCR tape baseball games. So like Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola. It was like the game of the week on Saturdays. And I always remember this description of Rickey Henderson because this was like 1985, and they were talking about the strike zone, how umpires were, obviously it's still discussion today about umpires strike zone, right? So then they were talking about like people's different, sizes of people, so their strike zone. But the way that one guy described Ricky Henderson's strike zone was it was the size of a shoebox. So, and he made that, and I was like, if you look at this pose right here, it's not too far off. I mean, like, I can't believe that this was his swing. And we talk about unique swings, like he had one too. I mean, look how straight that bat is, and like how crouched he is, and just an amazing player.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like he has, obviously the Oakland Coliseum was called Ricky Henderson Field. I don't know if that's going to be the case going forward, but yeah, when we were in Oakland, they had a Man of Steel shirt and him holding the base over his head, the iconic photo. And unfortunately, I just didn't have it in my size, so that's why I ended up with Baseball's Last Dive Bar. But yeah, Ricky is an icon, and he's just a character all around.
So awesome. And then Kevin, you have a story about Ricky Henderson, right? The autograph.
Oh gosh, that's right. So the weird thing that my mom and I got into was when Nolan Ryan was about to reach 5,000 strikeouts or 5,000 K, Sports Illustrated listed every single player who got struck out by Nolan Ryan, how many times they got struck out. So my mom and I, we had the idea of buying a Nolan Ryan poster, mat it, and get every single person who got struck out by Nolan Ryan to sign it. I don't remember who it was. One guy signed it and signed he's the pits, and wrote and signed his name in the armpits. And Ricky signed it for us. Across chest, he wrote 5,000 K under it because he was the 5,000 strikeout of Nolan Ryan. Unfortunately, the sad news is that that poster got lost in the move. When my parents moved, I didn't take it. I wish I would have kept it for myself, like almost everything else they took.
Oh man!
Wow! A one-of-a-kind item somewhere, maybe in White Bluff or Dixon, Tennessee. For those who live out there.
Oh wow! All right, Kevin, you have number 14.
All right. Forget about G.I. Joe, Sergeant Slaughter. I'm talking about a real American hero. Yes, it's Rodman Ventura. Come on, Hulk Hogan, Real American, was he written for you by the great Rick Derringer? Everybody in the Bruniverse, tell me, who was that song written for?
Mike Rotundo and Wyndham.
That's right, the U.S.
The
Express.
Varsity Club.
Exactly. And hey, you know what? Michael, you're probably the one who's going to know this. I much prefer Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo anyway. You know what I mean?
You like girls in cars.
That's, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy who's saying Seal Away. Something Dupree, right? Probably Dupree. All right. Anyways, if I'm going to really sing a part of a song about this fine gentleman here, it's going to be, let's see if you remember this, Jack. Ready? Mojo Rising. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yes.
But that was LA Woman was the theme for a run when Ron Ventura was leading the Mets on a good playoff run in 1999. But we're going to get there in a minute. So anyways, Mr. Ventura first came into prominence at Oklahoma State University. In his 3 seasons there, he batted, are you ready for this? .428. Yeah, 428. Good luck doing that in Major League Baseball. He has multiple career best totals in Oklahoma State baseball history, but in his second season, he had a collegiate best, and better than any Major League Baseball record now, 58-game hitting streak. I think there's a player either Indie Ball or like Single A who got, I think, 60, but don't quote me on that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Ron Ventura. And also in his junior year, in 1988, he won the Golden Spikes Award, which is the best amateur player in baseball at any level, and also an award called the Dick Hauser Trophy, which is considered like the Heisman Award of baseball. Now, he was actually drafted by the White Sox that summer as the 10th overall draft pick after his junior season. Why he only went 10th? Probably because it was junior season, and people probably thought, he might finish out his collegiate career. But he did sign with the White Sox, and they wanted him straight away to go to the minor leagues. But he refused because if you look over there at that beautiful baseball card, he wanted to play for his country, the United States of America, in the Olympics. And he then helped the United States of America win the gold medal in the 1988 Olympics. That's why I call him an American hero. And then he went on. I don't even think he played briefly, I believe, in minor leagues. Not very long, if at all. I didn't do the research on that. But he played Major League Baseball from 1989 to 2004, excuse me. He was a 2-time All-Star, 6 Gold Gloves, 5th all-time in Grand Slam home runs of 18, including 2 in one game. In a doubleheader, he hit 1 in each of the 2 games. And in 1999, which I mentioned earlier, he hit his most famous one in the playoffs. And I didn't tell you this, Jack. Jack knows this, but I don't think you know this, Michael. I recently learned that we need to add a new slang term to our slang baseball dictionary, because I didn't know this. A walk-off grand slam is actually called, anyone know, Jack? You remember what it's called?
A Ventura.
A Cowboy Jack is what I was told. That's what I was told. A walk-off grand slam is a Cowboy Jack.
I'm trying to be humble. I'm trying to be humble.
The unusual situation to where he got stopped after first base at this grand slam. So the game was stopped. It was considered 4-3. So it was called the Cowboy Jack single. So we have to change everything we call a grand slam single. No, it's the Cowboy Jack single. So let's make sure everybody knows that. Let's fix the history books. Unfortunately, he did have some injury issues, which probably prevented him from having a better statistical career. After his career, though, he did manage for the White Sox for a while. And this is a cool little addendum here. He did go back to Oklahoma State University in 2020 to finish getting his degree. And while he was there, this is a cool little footnote, he was a student assistant coach for the baseball team. I do like that.
That's amazing.
And he was voted the 3rd best collegiate baseball player of the 20th century. 3rd all time. And you could argue he was better off on the 2 I'm going to tell you was above him. Number 2 is a guy who actually played Oklahoma State as well, a guy named Pete Incaviglia. And number 1, a man we talked about many times on this show, Bob Horner and Cowboy Jack Durango. Where did Bob Horner play college baseball?
That would be Arizona State University.
That is correct, sir. And let me close out by saying that Robin Ventura also was a charter member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. And you know what? That's all anybody needs to talk about when it comes to Robin Ventura. Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about anything else.
No, and I'm sure that no one will bring up anything else when it comes to Robin Ventura, but we know that he's an all-American hero and he should be treated like one. And if you know Robin Ventura's history, like we put him over, in fact, we did a whole hazy history where Kevin and Jack went in depth on that incident.
We flipped the narrative is what we did.
That's what exactly. So please watch that, because
it's the Zapruder film of baseball.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's the redemption. Because he's been maligned.
I should send that to Robin Ventura and just put him over.
Agreed.
It's the truth.
Agreed. We're big fans of his, and we definitely he's definitely deserving of being a 2024 Diamond Icons. Thank you, Kevin. That was tremendous. Okay, so Cowboy Jack, you are up next.
To quote Kevin Lyon's longtime co-worker, Joey Ryan, who's ready for a mustache ride? When Raleigh Fingers was a 26-year-old relief pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, and he grew out his now trademark handlebar stash for a $300 bonus, he didn't know that he would ride that mustache into the Hall of Fame and quite possibly the elite club of Diamond Icon Award winners. Raleigh Fingers not only has a funny name and some sweet-ass facial hair, Raleigh was one of the men that helped shape and define modern relief pitching. Forget Ricky Vaughn taking the field while the Trogs blast out Wild Thing. Raleigh Fingers was the closer. At the end of his career, at the end of his career of 944 games, 1,701 innings, Raleigh racked up 1,299 strikeouts, 114 wins, and was the first pitcher to ever record 300 saves. Retiring final save count was 341. Fingers number 34 was retired by both the Oakland Athletics and the Milwaukee Brewers, making him one of only 10 players in the history of baseball to do so. Breaking from Baseball Brew Crew's Diamond Icon tradition, Raleigh's career wasn't mired with controversy. Other than a $1.4 million income tax dispute with the state of Wisconsin, where he was found to have properly paid his taxes. No, my friends, Raleigh is in contention for Diamond Icon status because he took the mound and saved games. Hard, fast, and repeatedly. The handlebar hero's baseball career can best be summed up by a quote from the man himself: "What they start, I finish." Big Hurt, how do you feel about mustache rides?
Can't complain.
And he is a friend of the show, but we're not going to have any bias here. He's also a brewer here that is not going to show any bias.
He's the poster child player for this show.
He's everything, right? And it's gonna be this is gonna be so hard to choose when it actually comes down to it. And he's also like, and remember, this is something that a lot of people don't recognize, especially modern baseball. You know, the closer comes in for 3 batters, and they had to come in. They actually had to make a rule that now pitchers have to actually face 3 batters.
Mm-hmm.
Back in his day, and this was in the 70s and 80s, they would go 3 innings. They were called firemen. They'd come out and put like finish out games 3 to 4 innings sometimes. It's insane to think like what the closer role has now become. And when you said what 300, how many saves?
341.
So think of 341 times 3 innings. Like, you know, the modern closer just like has 1 or maybe 4 outs is usually 4 to 5 outs is like high for now for a closer. And so like Raleigh Fingers, man, like it's insane.
He was a machine.
Great player.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much, Jack. That was amazing.
Good. Very good.
All right, Kevin, you are up again.
Hey, I said not to show that picture yet. You're ruining my joke. I said not till I said so, because I have to tell you, we made a major oversight on our ballots because the person I was researching is a San Diego chicken. And if you look right here, it's Pete Rose. Pete Rose is already in the Diamond Icon. So we need to put the chicken in the Diamond Icon already.
Oh no, what have we done?
So we need to update this, right? Pete Rose is the chicken, so that means the chicken is a Diamond Icon, right, Jack?
Your math checks out. I mean, it's just good science.
Well, we know the honky tonk man is Kim Chi, the manager of Kamala. So it's all upside down.
Hey, you know, the Midnight Rider was never proven to be Dusty Rhodes. All right, I want to get back to that.
That's right. What about the Boogie Woogie Man?
Charlie Brown, the man from out of town. All right, let's get back to the point here. I just did this for a good little. That's a good opening bit there. But you know what I want to talk about is a radio station in San Diego. KGB, by the way, is the name of the station. 1974, they had a commercial with an animated chicken. And I must have took off because in March of 1974, a 20-year-old journalism major at San Diego State University named Ted Gianalis was hired to wear the suit. He first appeared at the San Diego Zoo for an Easter promotion. He then had the idea to approach the Padres front office thinking, hey, this would be a great way to go to games for free. So I'm about to prove, Cowboy Jack, that I know your mascots is something you're like, ugh. But Ted Gianalis is a worker, a carny. I mean, he fits in right with all of us wrestlers. Let me tell you, he might as well have been a wrestler as I'll go through some of this, you know? Because that alone, I'm like, that's a gimmick. Hey, let me go to the costume. I'll get him for free, brother. So he first came in, and he was just wandering through the stands, you know, playing around with fans. And eventually they let him go on the field. And it turned out that was just his natural calling. He got over mimicking the opposing players and the umpires. And believe it or not, in that 1974 season, during the summer, he doubled the Padres' attendance. They were the least drawing team in 73. And in 74, he helped them double their attendance. And this is a whole new thing. Mascots didn't really exist very much. The Philly Banana came along, I think, 2 years later. And obviously, sorry, Jack, this San Diego chicken here is who you have to blame for everything you hate and nothing you love about mascots. So I'm sorry to tell you that. So in this run, he did over 520 Padre games in a row, by the way. And through his famous, he got famous out there. So he also got booked for San Diego Clipper games and concerts in the area. And you'll remember this, Michael, most likely. His first real national exposure was not baseball. I don't know if you remember this. In a game September 10th, 1978, the Raiders beat the San Diego Chargers on the infamous, it's called the Holy Roller Play. Do you remember what I'm talking about, Michael?
I do, yes.
So the quarterback, Kenny the Snake Stabler, I wish was a baseball player because that's a guy to do a great deep dive on. He seemed like quite the worker. So he had the ball and he was going to throw it, but somehow it was considered a forward fumble. And the ball rolled and rolled and rolled. And somehow one of the Raiders recovered the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. And the Raiders won the game. And so they go to the crowd and the chicken is just selling it. And he fell on the ground and lay motionless as though he had a heart attack. And that was all over NFL film highlights. So that definitely helped get him over to our national audience. So now here's where he's a worker. So in 1979, he had a conflict with the KGB. So I don't think I have a photo, but on the center of his outfit, it used to say KGB because they were the ones behind it. And, he had a conflict with KGB, I'm sure, because he wanted to prove he wasn't a pinko commie Russian. So, but because of this dispute, he got fired. And they actually put someone else in the costume. And the fans, this guy could not work the fans. And he literally this replacement got booed off the field. And so Ted Giannalis, being the worker, sued KGB and actually won the suit and got the rights to maintain the chicken character. So he made a slight little alteration to the chicken costume. And then on June 29th, 1979, in front of 47,000 fans, they did what was called the Grand Hatching, where they played dum 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 dum, 2001 Space Odyssey. Woo! How the heck? It wasn't the gobbledygooker. It wasn't the Nature Boy Ric Flair. It was, there he is, the San Diego Chicken. There he is, right there. But then he then knew he got his own gimmick later called the Famous Chicken, which I'll get into. And because he marketed himself really well, his reputation just grew further because of what I'm wearing right here, a show called The Baseball Bunch. So this is a show that aired for 5 seasons in syndication. Do I have to explain syndication, Michael Mondragon? Do you guys know what syndication is?
I think you must, because it's like the way the TV is now is like no one knows going to know what this is that you're talking about.
Programs would be sold to different, mostly independent stations around the country. Like the Baseball Bunch aired on my local NBC station, Channel 4, but would air on different channels throughout the country and on different times, depending on what time the station wants to put it on. So this is one of those shows. And it was filmed in Arizona in like around this time of year. And then they would air it in the spring and the summer. So 5 seasons this show aired. And the show is hosted by, as you see right there, a diamond icon himself, Johnny Bench, as he helped coach a team of children the fundamentals of baseball. Well, as best you can anyways, to a group of kids playing in freaking jeans and a shirt as a uniform. And literally, that's their outfit right there. And so the chicken got hired to be the comic relief of the show. And they always featured like great baseball players as a special guest every week. We're talking like Pete Rose, Tom Seaver, Mike Schmidt. We mentioned earlier, Splendid Splinter, Teddy Ball Game, Ted Williams. And also, to lead into Jack, and I don't know if you're going to talk about this, Jack, there'll be an appearance every week by the character called the Wizard or the Dugout Wizard, Michael?
Dugout Wizard.
The Dugout Wizard, who would give everyone very sound baseball insight. But he would appear on a screen to talk to the audience. And you know why that is? Because there's way too much heat for him and the chicken to be on the same grounds at any point. Let me tell you that why. And so obviously he became more of a touring attraction. So that's why he became more of the famous chicken is the San Diego Chicken. By 2015, just dropped my notes, he did appearances for all 4 major sports, but by 2015, he was reported to have made 5,100 appearances in 917 different facilities, 50 states, and 8 countries, wearing out more than 100 chicken suits. And to go full circle, Michael, you showed the next photograph. He even did a week-long tour in the Memphis wrestling territory. Here he is with the King, who I'm sure was on the call for those WrestleMania appearances in WrestleMania in WrestleMania 1999 and 2000.
Wow.
There you go. A worker to the end, let me say.
Yeah, and we saw the famous chicken at the baseball reliquary, and like he talked, like he went up to the microphone and talked through the math, like it was just like it was like talking to me and you.
The ceremony is from 2 to 5. The audience slid in at 1:30. He's just sitting there, full gimmick. Never took the gimmick off the whole time we were there for like 4 hours. And I'm like, what? That's why I'm like, this guy's a freaking worker. And I made sure I got up of him. Michael got up of him. It's like, need a great speech. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Much props to the man.
Unbelievable, and very deserving. This is the more these roll out, I'm like, how can I vote against any of these nominees? So good. All right, Kevin. Thank you so much. Cowboy Jack, you are up next.
Tommy Lasorda's baseball journey started as a pitcher. He signed with the Philadelphia Phillies in 1945, but it wasn't until he joined the Brooklyn Dodgers organization in 1949 that he started to make some waves. Tommy spent a few seasons bouncing around in minor league teams, eventually making his big league debut with the Dodgers in 1954. But despite some solid stuff, he never quite reached the level of success that he had hoped for as a player. He played just 2 seasons in the majors, compiling a modest 0-4 record. Lasorda had an infectious energy, a passion for the game, and a gift for motivating people. And while his playing days were limited, what made his career so important was his time as a manager. By 1976, he was named the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. This was the start of a remarkable 20-year reign at the helm of one of the most storied franchises in baseball history. Tommy took over a team that was in need of leadership, and he delivered. His fiery personality, colorful speeches, and endless optimism energized the Dodgers, and he soon became known for his ability to win the big games. In 1981, Lasorda led the Dodgers to the World Series title, a victory over the New York Yankees that remains one of the most memorable moments of his career. Under Lasorda, the Dodgers would win 4 division titles and 2 World Series championships in 1981 and 1988. Lasorda's ability to handle the pressures of managing a major league team while maintaining his vibrant, larger-than-life persona made him a beloved figure not just in Los Angeles, but throughout baseball. Lasorda wasn't just known for his wins on the field. He became a symbol of what it meant to be a Dodger. He was known for his loyalty, his brash style, and his deep connection to the community. His legendary speeches, fiery rants, and hilarious one-liners became part of the baseball lexicon. But what really made Tommy stand out was his passion for his players. He wasn't just a manager, he was a mentor, a father figure, and a motivator. And his relationship with his players is one of the things that helped him stay relevant for so long in the game. Lasorda managed some of the greats like Steve Garvey, Fernando Valenzuela, and Kirk Gibson. But no matter how talented his team, Lasorda was always able to push to do better, to find a higher gear, and plow through that extra mile. From managing a team of non-active MLB players to the gold medal in the 2000 Sydney Olympics, to making offhand remarks about an impromptu Gangnam-style dance during a game, to besting his all-time rival, Montreal's Expos mascot Yuppie, during a 22-inning game, Tommy Lasorda loved the game of baseball so deeply and purely that he came to embody everything great about baseball. Loud, brash, little rough around the edges, but at its heart, something so magical that it has endured as America's pastime for over 170 years. Cheers to Lasorda, boys.
Yeah, so
Cheers.
Good. Thank you for that. Now, it's so funny because, like, Kevin, and you can say this too because you grew up an Angels fan.
Yes,
and
sir.
I grew up outside. It's like Lasorda is was very hateable because he was probably one of like the biggest manager personalities out there. Very visible, very out there when it came to everything. And I actually kind of found come to love him for his rants.
Oh yeah.
His so tell us about some of his rants that he would go on radio. That is right.
Well, he would just give you an honest answer, because like the famous one of the famous one was Dave Kingman had a game where he hit like 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. And this young reporter just didn't know any better. He's like, "Hey, what was your opinion of Dave Kingman's performance?" He's like, "What the? You think you're? Why are you asking me such a question?" You know, he's like, "What do you think about his performance?" I thought it was, you know, and he's like, "I'm sorry to give you that answer, but I'm just mad." He's like, well, you know, because he was more like, "I can't believe you asked me this question," and he just got in the right moment. And you get in the right moment. Woo, you're going to get a tirade. You know, I mean, one of my favorites is he said, Kurt Bavacco couldn't hit water if he fell out of a bleeping boat. You know, like little things like that, you know. Like he got mad Garvey once. We can do one more. He got mad Garvey once and said, Garvey needs a bleeping oar to hit the bleeping ball. He would have made a bleeping great cricket player. And then in the background, you hear all the press just dying laughing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's what that was getting him attention. That was getting him over. You know what I mean? Because he spoke his mind. He was honest, you know. He was going to get him heat later. But that's a man beloved, you know, in the LA community. Dude, super quotable. And then, so we talked about before, so he was the dugout wizard for the baseball bunch. And by the way, on a side note here, I would kill for one of these jackets, these baseball bunch jackets. I would kill for it. And then Johnny Bench looks like super bored right here. Anyway, but he has a green screen. There's nothing on that board.
That's right. I mean, and by the way, I think this was filmed in Tucson.
Yes,
by the way,
it was.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. It was shot during the off season. Yeah.
Yes. So total sidebar here, but okay. So as I was doing the research for this and looking this up, so weirdly, there's this Dugout Wizard little compilation where he's talking to the kids and he's talking about some of the stuff that he says, and he's like, "Oh, when I think that a player is this, I would say this," and it's all of his quotable things that we say, like, "Oh, this guy, you know, couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat." But then he starts going into some other stuff. Let's say that it does not play well, and it is not politically correct, and it's like it might be something we have to play only to see how cringy it is.
That might be when we launch our Twitch series. We might have to watch the baseball bunch on our Twitch series.
Might be in our Twitch, but maybe even our Rumble. If we do that. But anyway, he's again one of the characters of the game. Definitely super awesome, and definitely deserving to be a diamond icon. All right, so we've done 17. Let's do 18 and round this out. Allan, you are up.
All right, our final Diamond Icon nominee is Wade Chicken Man Boggs. This man is a Hall of Fame ball player and a Hall of Fame beer drinker. Probably the most famous Wade Boggs story is the legend and where the legend of Boggs grows. On a cross-country flight, Wade began to throw back a couple brewskis. The numbers started to grow. A few teammates thought it was in the 50s, others 60s, and then even some in the 70s. Later on, Boggs would say on Pardon the Interruption, "No, it's not true. It wasn't 64. A lot of people have fun with that, and it's nothing to brag about. You get aboard a cross-country flight from Boston to LA, and you got to do something. No, I won't answer the number, but put it this way, I had a few Miller Lights." Just astounding. On the next day, he took on Mark Langston and went 2 for 3 with a double.
Sure.
Wade earned the nickname Chicken Man for his superstitious pregame meal of chicken. He didn't matter what kind of chicken, grilled, beer can, Italian, or his wife's famous fried chicken. The superstition began in 1983 when Boggs won his first batting title and continued on his entire career. Wade Boggs is a deeply superstitious man, taking batting practice at 5:17, doing sprints at 7:17, and took 150 ground balls before the game. Wade Boggs would write chai in the dirt before his first at bat, which means life in Hebrew. Boggs collected 3,010 hits, with his 3,000th being a home run. Wade Boggs won 5 batting titles, 8 Silver Sluggers, 2 Gold Gloves, and he's a 12-time All-Star. L'chaim Wade.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. And as a as a child of the 80s, and someone who was a light hitter, I will say light, I'll say a 250 hitter in high school. I did that symbol in the dirt. And I'm just like, I need all the help I can get. So I love that you brought that up. That is amazing. Yes. And yes. And I used to eat El Pollo Loco back in the day. So, I mean, I guess I was Chicken Man as well. And so one thing also, this story is so legendary about his beer drinking that it actually made a Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And he was in there. Unfortunately, I found out that he's actually not doing well. I think he has prostate cancer right now.
No.
And that's how I found out. I looking up this picture. I wasn't aware of that. I hope he's doing well. And I think Ryan Sandberg also had cancer recently too. It's like, so our hero is like, come on, let's back him. But I love this picture. I mean, it's such a wholesome picture.
He's another one of those ones I met in Cooperstown as well.
Oh, really?
Just a very cool guy to meet. And like, I'm going again this summer. So hopefully he'll be there.
Yes. And so I went to where the Pawtucket Red Sox play, the famous stadium, and then that's
McCoy Field.
McCoy Field. And but how many innings was it? It was like,
oh gosh,
33 and a third.
33, something like that. Yeah,
it's
crazy.
crazy.
He gave me a shirt of that, and there's a book about it too. That I need to get again and finish it.
Yeah, and he was a part of that game, and so that pretty crazy.
And Cal Ripken Jr. was on Rochester, who was playing him that day.
That's right. So
crazy.
So cheers to Wade Boggs, and so that rounds it out. So let's look at the field here. This is, and we've actually whittled this down. How do we eliminate anybody from this? This field. This is an amazing.
I know
field.
Jack's not voting for. I know at least Buddy's not voting for.
So good. So again, we'll December 9th, we'll be selecting our Diamond Icons nominees. We'll be selecting 3 out of this. It's a tournament. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and yes, we have other little goodies in there as well. We're going to nominate some other people for some other awards. So we definitely want to, yes. And we'll also go over this. We're going to, on our social media, we're going to actually do the bios of this, so you can actually ramp up to this. So
and the way the brackets come out is you'll hit matchups that, I mean, you'll have a clear favorite. Yeah, you'll have a clear favorite, and then halfway through, you're knocking them out. So it's a wild experience. Allan, I'm excited for you, brother.
Absolutely. Our rest in power for this week is Joey J. Now, I was not aware of Joey J, and I looking up, doing the research, #do the research. I actually learned out that Joey J actually has a really great history. So Joey J, who in 1953 became the first little leaguer to reach the major leagues, went on to win 99 games in 13 seasons, pitching for Milwaukee, later Atlanta Braves, and the Cincinnati Reds. He died on September 27th. He was 89, lived in the Tampa Bay area in his later years. In his first year with the Reds, Jay won 21 games and lost 10, tied for the National League leads in wins and shutouts, pitched a one-hitter facing the Phillies, and was also named an All-Star. Again, these players that we have here, I mean, This is one of the segments I hate
Now-
the worst, but I love celebrating these players because they get some love.
But check this out. His rookie year, he was 17. 17.
17. And there's another Reds player during, what was it?
Well, we talked about Joe Nuxall.
Nuxall, yes.
Because he was, what, 16?
Yes.
Because it was during World War II.
Right.
So he got brought up because so many people, like Ted Williams, was serving our country, and Joe Nuxall was too young to serve. And he probably was looking like, hey, he's a decent ball player. So let's bring him in. And Joe, did we do a rest in power on him? Because he passed away somewhat recently, didn't we?
Yes, because he became a Reds announcer.
Yes, for decades. Yeah,
Yes.
for decades.
Yeah. So Joey J, rest in power.
Yes.
We definitely I love celebrating this because we get to know these players on a different level. I was not aware of it. I'm like, who's Joey J? And I looked him up. I'm like, the first little leaguer to be in the major league. That's a big accomplishment right there.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the show we have for you this week. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Tell all your friends about our show. We're on X. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Guys, any last words before we sign up for this week?
Tune in for the Diamond Icons. It's a wild ride. It's a fun night, and you'll leave entertained, dude, for sure.
Absolutely. And we might have some surprise run-ins during that. So just a little hint there, a little foreshadowing. Allan, you got anything to plug?
Nothing this week. Just like Jack said, tune in December 9th.
Absolutely. Kevin?
Actually, first off, I didn't get a chance to plug this. I want to put over my Portland Strong because this is the Portland Pickles. I know, Michael, you went to a game. Allan, I don't know if you've seen the Portland Pickles or not, but that's Dylan Pickle there. This hat was made by a company called Official League, and this is actually, if anybody's a friend or a friend of the show, let me just say it out there because a friend of yours, Michael.
Yep.
Roderick Strong, AEW superstar, former international champion, made an official cap with the Portland Pickles, and so got one when it came out. And also, I have if you're a wrestling fan, maybe old school wrestling fan, Saturday at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, I'm going to be on Twitch, watch some old school wrestling on Mystery Titans Theater. The channel on Twitch is Jarvis Washing Machine, all one word. So you want to hang out with me, have a beer, watch some old school wrestling? Come join us. Love it.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll probably have a light version of the show next week. I think the plan is that we're gonna talk about some diamond icons that did not make the ballot, but we're gonna celebrate them anyway. And then we will have our diamond icons on December 9th. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching live, if you're watching on replay, thank you so much. Give us a like and a follow, turn on those notifications, and we will see you next week with another Baseball Brew Crew podcast. Thanks, everyone. Good night.